much for joining us here at Karma. It's wonderful to be seeing the amazing work of the family here from beginning just growing fruit and scraping a life out of the dirt to now distributing value-added products right across the country with major retailers like Costco and Walmart. Really inspiring story here of success, hard work, paying off. So thank you so much, Benny, to you and Karma, to the whole family for hosting us here today. It's great to be here. This is an incredibly unstable and challenging time globally, and certainly British Columbians are feeling that in many different ways. Canadians are feeling that. And one of the key responses that we've had as a province to the challenges that we face globally and nationally is to find ways to create jobs and opportunity here in the province that are resilient to outside shocks. That by building up our province, by creating opportunities to get more value out of the resources we can produce here, we'll be creating opportunities for all British Columbians. And the team here at Karma, the family behind this amazing product that is delicious and you should try it, is an example of the work we've done in partnership with BC businesses. Canadians are looking for ways to buy Canadian products. And also, Canadian food products are in demand around the world. We are recognized when we did our trade mission to Asia, for example. Canadian food products are recognized as being high quality, safe, and high nutritional value. This is highly prized in global markets. So our partnership here with Karma, where we provided $2 million in support and facilitated their ability to be able to buy the advanced manufacturing equipment that they needed to take their product to the next level, was what supported them with their hard work to be able to turn that into contracts to distribute these products across Canada and to look at other markets globally as well. 20 full-time employees here, directly employed, not counting the employment created by the additional fruit that's needed to create this massive wall of cans behind me. Economic activity that's driving productivity, that's driving prosperity here in the interior. That's what we're looking for. And I'm really happy to be here with you to announce that we are using the Manufacturing Jobs Fund again to support 4 interior firms with a similar business model to what we've seen here at Karma. Government partnering with business to help them take that next step to reach additional markets, to hire more people, and to get their products into the hands of more Canadians and more people around the world. So I'm pleased to share with you that today's announcement amounts to nearly $7 million that is going to 4 interior companies. In Merritt, Mako Manufacturing, a wood furniture company, is using the funding to buy additional equipment that will facilitate the addition of 29 additional jobs. In Malacca, Goodway Homes, a prefab housing manufacturer, will be using the funding to expand their manufacturing and create 27 additional jobs. In Salmon Arm, Dynoflex, which is a company that uses recycled tires to produce flooring and other building materials, will be expanding and hiring additional workers. And in Penticton, Kinetic Custom Trailers, they produce big industrial trailers, will be growing their footprint and expanding their product offerings. All in all, this is close to 100 new jobs with this almost $7 million in funding. It will facilitate $60 million plus in private capital investment by these firms, and it will ensure stronger supply chains and more opportunities for British Columbians and Canadians to support local businesses, strengthening our economy provincially and ensuring that we can weather any shocks that we face from the outside world. The Manufacturing Jobs Program as a whole reflected about $154 million of investment that facilitated over $6 billion of private sector investment, an incredible success story, creating jobs and opportunity here in the province. So congratulations and thank you to these firms for stepping up and creating these opportunities for British Columbians. It's an honor to partner with them. And with that, I think I'm the only speaker here today. Well, actually, I think Benny is going to come up and say a few words on behalf of Karma. Thank you again so much for hosting us here today.
Farming Karma is so grateful for the province's support and investment into the manufacturing sector, especially food and beverage, because it's helping make our food system stronger. We are a small family business that started at the farmers market with one single product. And right now, we are so proud and grateful to have the opportunity to serve BC-made beverages to Canadians in every corner of Canada. And it's truly a dream come true. This does not happen without the support of the government, the community, and we've been able to grow our team and create meaningful new jobs. And we're so excited to continue doing that and bringing more innovative products that are made right here in our backyard in British Columbia, Kelowna, and serve it to the Canadians all over. Thank you so much for your support.
Thanks so much. You'll note we have some special guests here behind me over on the end. Avi Gill, the Minister of Jobs. You'll, of course, recognize the Mayor of Kelowna, Mayor Tom. It's great to be here. We were out at the airport earlier today before we came over here. The Mayor advocating for a huge opportunity for Kelowna to expand economic activity here at the airport. Thank you so much for the tour and for the opportunity you presented. And then, of course, our hard-working Vernon Lumby, MLA, Harwinder Sandhu, a nurse, a champion of her community, and she is supporting me through my visit over the next couple of days through the interior, a great champion for the interior. With that, I'd be happy to take any questions that you may have, and Sachin at the back will be facilitating the questions this afternoon.
Thank you, Premier. Thank you, everyone, for joining us here today at Karma Farming. We're going to take questions from the media now. All members of the media will have one question and one follow-up. For media on the phone line, please remember to press *1 to enter the queue and to unmute yourself when called upon. We're going to start on the phone lines today with Katie DeRosa from CBC. Go ahead, Katie.
Hi, Premier. Thanks for taking my question. There's a BC Conservative leadership debate tonight. One of the top issues so far has been repealing DRIPA. Are you concerned that your U-turn on amending DRIPA will hurt you politically and be used by the candidates tonight in the debate?
Yeah, I've heard about the debate. I guess I would say that I'm incredibly disappointed that the Conservatives have chosen to hold a debate with a far right-wing news outlet that promotes white supremacy, white supremacist views. I'll take a moment to recognize that Caroline Elliott has opted out of this debate. I think that's the right decision. And I hope that the Conservatives as a whole will commit to, if Ms. Elliott is elected, to no longer advertising on this platform. It's surprising and disturbing to me that they are using their money to prop up this news outlet that platforms far-right views, including that there should be a mass deportation of Canadians, and other incredibly offensive and bizarre viewpoints. They should not be supported by any leadership candidates for political parties in British Columbia. And I hope that Ms. Elliott is able to take a firm stand on this and say that if she is elected leader, that they will no longer advertise on this reprehensible platform. As far as the Declaration Act, we are moving to put into place a temporary hold on the key sections of the Act that are affected by the Gitcatla decision. This is necessary to address the significant litigation risk that case presents to the province of British Columbia, and we will find a path forward with our First Nations partners. The work has to continue for the success of the province's economy, but also to address long-standing social issues that go back to the founding of British Columbia and the separation of Indigenous kids from their families and being punished for speaking their language and practicing their culture. This is important work, both for our prosperity. The major projects we have going forward all have Indigenous partners. It can't stop. And we also have to do this work on the Declaration Act to ensure that it meets the expectations of British Columbians across the province and also of our government.
Follow-up, Katie?
Yes, it looks like the province will be forcing the District of West Vancouver to increase its housing targets. It seems like the first really hammer approach to the density policy from the government. Will you be doing this with other municipalities, or is West Vancouver the only, the worst offender in not meeting these housing targets? Yeah,
I think, if there's one issue that's really important to British Columbians, is that they be able to have home that they can afford, that's available to them. It's a constraint on the ability to grow the economy here if people can't find housing. It means the young people have to look outside of British Columbia for a place to live, to raise a family. I'm here in Kelowna. I'm here with Mayor Tom, and I couldn't let this question pass without thanking Kelowna for the incredible work that they have done on housing. They have been a leader in the province, and the results are apparent. Their rental vacancy rate is up to the point that we're able to engage in conversations now about removing the restrictions on Airbnb so that they can have more Airbnbs for the summer. The rental vacancy rate means there are more homes available and rent is more affordable for people that want to live and work and build a life here in Kelowna. It also means that housing for purchase is more affordable for people who want to build a home in the region. This is the work that we can do and we are doing in partnership with the vast majority of municipalities across British Columbia. I'm incredibly proud and grateful for the work that municipalities have done to respond to the housing crisis. It is why British Columbia has the fastest declining rents of any province in Canada, despite facing huge housing challenges. It's because of that work we've done with municipalities. West Vancouver is not unique in terms of their treatment by the provincial government in terms of our expectations that they hit minimum standards in providing the housing that people need. How West Vancouver does it would have been ideal had they designed it for themselves so that they could incorporate local priorities and needs. But as we were clear from the very beginning, this was not optional work. The vast majority of municipalities across the province engaged in this work in good faith because they understood the importance of this issue for British Columbians, and the results are in. With West Vancouver, we've had to unfortunately take the step of requiring them to do this work. I want to thank the housing minister and her team for this, and I'm hopeful that going forward, we're able to work with West Vancouver to ensure that we're delivering housing in a way that's responsive to the needs of local residents, but also in a way that they can support.
Keith Baldry, Global News.
Hi, Premier. Can you explain again why the changes to DRIPA in the legislature had to be a confidence vote? And secondly, have you talked to your MLA, Jones Phillip, who's Indigenous and is married to a prominent First Nations leader who vigorously opposes these changes, in fact says he's not going to vote for the NDP anymore? Do you have the support and the surety of her voting with the government on this issue?
Yeah, our caucus is strong and united, and these are important conversations that we have with all of our caucus members. I respect Joan and all of our Indigenous members so much. I know that this is incredibly challenging for them personally. I want to recognize that. This is crucially important work we're doing with First Nations partners. All of our caucus members recognize the importance of this work for the future of our economy, to lift up and create opportunities and jobs for British Columbians in every corner of this province. It is not optional work. It is necessary work. And our MLAs also understand the very serious litigation risk that has been posed to the province by the Gitcatla decision and why we have to put these sections on hold until we get a decision out of the Supreme Court of Canada. I am so proud of our caucus, of all of us sticking together through some really challenging issues over the years that I've been Premier, and even before that when John was Premier, and compare us very favorably to the chaos of the Conservative caucus, who have lost now 6 MLAs from their team, and are facing challenges in terms of infighting right now in their own leadership race about whether or not to support a far-right leadership debate for a website that supports white supremacy. So for us, we know what our job is. We know what our work is. It is crucial that we do this work. It is a confidence vote, absolutely, because this is work that we have to do as a government. And if we can't do this work, protecting against a very significant litigation risk for the province, then we're going to have to find some other path forward. That is the reason for the confidence vote. It is crucial, and we will have the votes that we need to pass this in the legislature.
Follow-up, Keith?
Yeah, are you going to approach any of the independent MLAs to try to solicit their support on the confidence vote, just to be sure?
Well, you know, I try to imagine why an MLA wouldn't support protecting the province against significant litigation risk. It makes good sense to ensure that we have guidance from the Supreme Court of Canada, that we pause these sections in order to be able to get clarity from the court and determine the best path forward. We'll make our case to all MLAs, whether they're Greens or Independents or even the Conservatives, about why we need these changes, and hope to have support on that. It is necessary, unfortunately, to be able to pass this legislation. We have to do it. And we also have to continue to do this work to ensure that we're creating the jobs that $50 billion plus in major projects represents, not just for our province, but for the entire country in a time of significant global unrest and instability. This is crucially important work. We're keen to do it, and we'll certainly be looking to work with anyone that wants to work with us in ensuring a prosperous province for British Columbians.
Rob Buffum, CTV.
Oh, hi, Premier. Thanks for taking my question. I wanted to follow up on Keith's questions. My first ones relate to your announcement that you are going to pause various provisions of DRIPA. First Nations leaders have expressed that they're very upset about that. Many have called it a significant step back to reconciliation. They're holding a press conference on Friday in relation to their response. So I just wanted to get your reaction to their response, and I also wanted to get your reaction to concerns that putting a pause on those provisions for 3 years, awaiting a Supreme Court of Canada decision, is going to leave a lot of uncertainty and may create a void of certainty in the province for businesses that want to invest here, that know that in 3 years' time, the law may or may not change.
Yeah, Rob, I don't know. I can't disagree more with the premise of the end of your question there. British Columbia has more major projects with the Major Projects Office, private sector projects, than any other province in Canada. We're projected to be the second fastest growing province in Canada next year because of those projects. We're advancing well with firms like LNG Canada on LNG Canada Phase 2, the largest private sector investment in Canadian history, if they reach final investment decision this year and decide to go ahead. Silism's LNG is itself an Indigenous project, representing a massive multi-billion-dollar project that will employ thousands of people. And have a beneficial and significant impact on the Canadian dollar strength, which makes life more affordable for British Columbians and Canadians, but also helps produce tax dollars that we use to pay for public services. We have 4 mines worth more than $3 billion that have reached final investment decision in the last 4 months that involve partnerships with First Nations. So the economic side of things in partnership with First Nations, it is providing the certainty for these multi-billion-dollar projects to go ahead and employ literally thousands of people and drive the Canadian economy. It's very exciting and important, that work. But that is just one component of the work. The Declaration Act reflects commitments around language training, cultural support, issues related to children and youth and healthcare, addressing laws like the law that prohibited First Nations from owning property in their own names. I understand why First Nations leadership are anxious about the fact that the province has to put sections of the Act on hold until we get clarity from the Supreme Court of Canada, or we're able to find some other path forward with them. But we just can't have the very significant litigation risk that is presented by that Court of Appeal case and that is showing up in our courts in a very real way. This work has to be carefully managed between us. We need to find that path forward, and we will.
Follow-up, Rob?
Yeah, thank you. I guess kind of a two-parter. In response to what you just said, some First Nations leaders have said, in fact, the proposed pause is going to create more litigation because there's going to be a groundswell of court cases responding to that move. And also there may well be less cooperation from First Nations on some of these projects you're hoping to move forward on. So I don't know if, whether it's protests or rallies, if those are things that concern you. But also, I guess I'm wondering, you mentioned that in relation to this confidence vote, some words to the effect, if we can't do this work, we have to find some other way forward. I guess I just wanted to reiterate, how confident are you that you have the votes? And are you willing to send British Columbians to the polls this spring if you don't?
Just to underline again, Rob, what I said very clearly and what I very firmly believe is that we have the votes necessary to pass the legislation that puts these sections on hold. We're certainly hopeful that independents or the Greens or others will see that is a necessary step and support the legislation. And so my expectation is that the bill will pass and that we will not have an election on these issues. But ultimately, I believe that this will be an issue in terms of Indigenous rights and how we work with First Nations in the next election, just given how the leadership race is shaping up on the Conservative side. And there is a very clear choice for British Columbians, whether the Conservative view that conversations with First Nations should end, that agreements with First Nations should end, that the Declaration Act should be repealed, and the chaos that would bring to tens of billions of dollars of major projects, thousands of jobs, huge tax dollars that are going to go to support crucial public services like healthcare will be put into disarray and perhaps in significant jeopardy. That is the viewpoint of the Conservative Party. That is what they would like to do. That is the inevitable consequence of what they are proposing. And that is a case that I will certainly, and our government will certainly make to British Columbians, is we do this work because it is necessary and because it is important, not just to address injustices in relation to First Nations people, but also in terms of the province's economic future. This is a province that was settled without treaties. And the courts have required us to recognize First Nations rights and title, which is the right thing. In that environment, we got to work in partnership with First Nations or things aren't going to happen. And those things include jobs, prosperity, and tax revenue to pay for public services. And so we'll have those debates, Rob, I think, ultimately. But in terms of what we're facing right now, significant litigation risk through the Court of Appeal's interpretation of the Declaration Act, we have to address that.
Mark Page, Black Press.
Yes, thank you for taking my question. Yesterday, there was a press release that came out from the Canadian Taxpayers Federation criticizing the government's use of they purchased a truck or rented a truck to sort of travel around the U.S. and deliver coffee to healthcare workers. I believe by their calculation, it was 1,000 cups of coffee for $165,000. Can you respond to that? And just, do you think this is a good use of BC taxpayers' money?
Yeah, thanks, Mark. This was a stunt, this coffee truck. It wasn't staffed by baristas. It was staffed by Canadian healthcare workers, British Columbian healthcare workers, who were engaging with American healthcare workers outside of hospitals in Washington State and promoting the opportunities that are available in British Columbia to become a healthcare worker. It is probably the single most effective marketing initiative that our government has ever undertaken, because for the cost of that promotion, we have now hired more than 500 American healthcare workers, health science professionals, nurses, and doctors. It costs us about $350,000 to train a new doctor. The correct metric is not the cost per cup of coffee. It is the amount spent for the number of healthcare workers recruited, 500 of whom have accepted offers from health authorities in British Columbia right across the province, and we know we're short on healthcare workers. And more than 2,000 American healthcare workers have applied for jobs with health authorities. We saw the number jump by 100 in terms of American healthcare workers hired in just the last month. It was so successful that we are seriously thinking about doing it again. And it is astonishing to me that the Conservatives oppose this wildly successful effort to recruit American healthcare workers at a fraction of the cost of what it would require in terms of time and money to train up these healthcare workers to help us address the very serious challenges we face in staffing emergency rooms, obstetrical wards, hospitals, long-term care homes in the province. And it's a similar challenge in jurisdictions across Canada. So not only do I think it was great, but I think we should probably do it again.
You have a follow-up, Mark?
Yes, back to DRIPA. So you've talked often about the legal liability that you say the province now faces because of the GATLA decision. Now, can you tell me, have there been any statements of claim filed since the GATLA decision that challenge any BC laws because they're not they don't align with UNDRIP? If so, how many? Were there any of these cases underway when the GATLA decision was released? Maybe you could talk about some of that legal liability in terms of those statements. Right?
Yes, thanks. I understand from the Attorney General's office that more than 20 notices of claim or other legal claims against government have been amended to incorporate the GATLA decision since the decision came down. And we have had 3 decisions from the court. One is the GATLA decision itself. One is in relation to the Class Proceeding Act in British Columbia, and another in relation to the Freedom of Information Act that incorporate that decision and find that our laws do not meet the Declaration Act and require government to amend those laws or have exposed government to significant additional legal liability through a class proceeding. It's a very real and manifesting challenge that we face. Otherwise, we wouldn't be taking these steps. It is not something that we're making up. It is something that we have to do, and that is why we will be introducing legislation to put the hold on those key provisions in the Act so that we can get clarity from the Supreme Court of Canada.
Alec Lazenby, Vancouver Sun.
Hi, Premier. Just wanted to ask, you say that there's 20 cases that have been amended to reflect the GATLA decision. Just wondering, why not, work with First Nations on solutions to some of that legal liability as opposed to, just suspending DRIPA for 3 years or however long the court case takes? And when can we see amendments in the House? Is it going to be next week?
So the answer to your first question, Alec, is of course, we're always looking for ways to address challenges or issues that First Nations have with government outside of court. That's our preference. That's always our preference. And we're always keen to do that. We respect the right of nations to go to court, of course. But if we can resolve things outside of court, we would prefer to do that. And in terms of the introduction of the legislation, we'll be working with our First Nations partners, but we'll be introducing it in plenty of time for a thorough debate of the provisions on the floor of the legislature.
Follow-up, Alec?
Yes, and in terms of the ongoing legal situation with the Cowichan case, I know that doesn't play into the GATLA decision or DRIPA amendment, but where are you at in terms of your appeal? And do you think that, the appeals for both the GATLA and Cowichan can be done in 3 years? Because oftentimes these court cases take a lot longer to kind of play their way out.
Yes, well, our concern about the length of time that the Cowichan case is going to take likely to resolve, given that one of the affected property owners has asked for the case to be reopened, that proceeding is moving ahead. We still don't have final orders out of that case yet, which means we haven't been able to apply for a stay, and we haven't been able to file our lead materials to the Court of Appeal. So we're still waiting for that trial action to conclude. Given the length of time it's taking to conclude that, we've been working with the Cowichan First Nation to issue a joint statement, which we issued together, saying that the Cowichan First Nation has never sought to take people's private property, that they don't have any interest in taking people's private property, and the provincial government is not and will not ever negotiate people's private property as part of a negotiation with First Nations. And that joint statement is meant to do 2 things. One is to provide clarity to the affected property owners. And the second is to try to be able to assist the conversation between Cowichan and the provincial government in this court-ordered negotiation that we are participating in to define the parameters of that discussion and to find a way to move forward. The injustice that was done to the Cowichan people by the taking of that land many generations ago is a serious one. It needs to be addressed, but it shouldn't come at the expense of the private property owners, the homeowners, the business owners that are just trying to live their lives. And so we're going to find that path forward with the Cowichan First Nation.
We're going to take some questions on site now. We're going to start with Madison from Castanet.
Hi, Premier. You mentioned the work that Kelowna's done in terms of housing. I'm just wondering if the province will lift Airbnb restrictions here in Kelowna for the summer.
Yeah, we're the Minister of Housing is working with the City of Kelowna on the city's request to lift the restriction. The timeline that we had was November. We recognize that that's not helpful for the summer tourist season. So we look forward to have more to say about this soon, but we are working closely with the city to try to find a way to provide additional tourist accommodation during those important summer months here.
Can you maybe just go into what is involved in getting to that specific month, to November or sooner if possible?
There are discussions happening right now between the Ministry of Housing and the City of Kelowna, and I look forward to have more to share soon about that, or the Minister of Housing or the City of Kelowna. We're working closely together. We understand the importance of this for the region in terms of tourism, and also want to recognize the incredible work that Kelowna has done to bring on more housing and to take some of that pressure off rental housing so that people have a decent place to live.
Claudia Van Emmerich, Global Okanagan.
Hi, Premier Eby. I have two questions, one about today's announcement and to follow up on Madison's questions about the restrictions on short-term rentals. First of all, as far as this announcement goes today, how does this fit into your broader economic strategy for smaller and rural communities, and how are these firms prioritized?
Yeah, thanks. I might invite the Minister of Jobs up here in a second, but big picture, our goal has been to get more jobs out of the resources we produce here. That's true in mining, it's true in energy, it's true in our forest sector, and it's certainly true in agriculture. So looking at ways that we can create more jobs from the resources we have here in British Columbia has been a big priority. That's one of the key lenses that we put on the applications we've received from companies across the province. So you'll see in today's announcement, major wood furniture manufacturer, building that furniture out of wood. What we did here in partnership with Farming Karma to be able to support them in getting more jobs out of the fruit that they were farming. With that, I'll pass it over to Ravi to talk about the overall program.
Thanks for the question. What we do is we've provided $150 million. We ask communities to apply or businesses to apply throughout the province. What's key in our application process is the quality of jobs that it creates, the additional economic investments that we can see come to the region, as well as how does it align with our Look West economic strategy around making sure that British Columbia is resilient, that British Columbia is strong. And we also, additionally to this, we also have a rural economic development fund as well, which helps even smaller communities to be able to access dollars to create economic opportunities so they're not competing against big cities. So we have created two streams so that rural communities, smaller communities can have access to their own funding and don't have to compete against larger cities. We've seen huge and positive results from those investments. This is exciting to see what's happening here because not only is this company now expanding across the country, but really some opportunities for them to consider international markets as well, with $2 million investment to see that kind of turnover and spin happening in the community, seeing the company making investments. That's the type of thing we want to see in communities throughout British Columbia.
Thank you. In terms of the restrictions on short-term rentals, we have many tourism operators that we have spoken to who are calling on these restrictions to be loosened, particularly in those buildings that were zoned for that purpose. Some of them have told us that they may not survive a third summer. I know that the city has made an official request for those restrictions to be loosened a couple of months ago now, and we keep hearing an announcement is coming soon. Why is it taking so long for the province to loosen these restrictions? It is already April. People are already booking their summer plans here in the Okanagan and Kelowna.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, I want to congratulate Kelowna and region on the success they've had in expanding tourism here. We were just at the airport, and this is the fastest growing, one of the fastest growing airports in North America, and seeing almost 10% growth year over year of people landing here, visiting here in Kelowna. The growth has been astonishing, and that underlines the urgency that tourism operators feel they want to meet that market. We have worked very carefully across the province to try to balance the need for housing for people who live and work in community, including in the tourism sector, with type of accommodation that lots of British Columbians prefer and lots of people who are visiting British Columbia prefer, which is to rent an Airbnb or a VRBO. We are working with the City of Kelowna. We look forward to making an announcement soon about getting that restriction lifted sooner, to be able to assist people in being able to book. I look forward to having more to say about that soon. I understand the impatience, and I do want to recognize the important work that Kelowna has done on the issue of housing to make this possible.
We have time for one more question, and we're going to head to Charlotte Groove with Radio Canada.
Hello. We've interviewed lawyers, and they say that changing or pausing DRIPA won't have an effect on the Cowichan decision because it was based on Section 35. Can you comment on that and how DRIPA, in your opinion, affects property rights?
Yeah, thanks. I mean, it can get very complicated in a hurry when you start talking about how the law works in Indigenous rights. It's an evolving issue, but the bottom line is that in the Cowichan decision that affected several private properties in Richmond, both businesses as well as individual homes, that was a decision that was based on Canada's Constitution, on Section 35, that recognizes Indigenous rights and title. It is also the basis for the recent land claim decision of the Nuu-Chah-Nulth First Nation in 220 square kilometers of Crown land, an island up British Columbia's north coast. And that issue is not going away for our province. Our province was settled without treaties. Courts have repeatedly now recognized title, First Nations title, to lands in our province. We need to work with First Nations to find a path forward, and the Declaration Act was the structure that assisted us in doing that work. So it's correct to say that putting the Declaration Act on hold, these sections on hold, wouldn't have addressed the Cowichan decision. However, the Court of Appeal decision about the Declaration Act was a significant one that opened up every statutory decision that has been made in British Columbia, every British Columbia law, to review against the UN Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People document. It was never the intention of the law to bring it in overnight. It was the intention of this to be multiple generations of work and partnership between the provincial government and First Nations, which is why we have to put it on hold until we get clarity from the Supreme Court of Canada.
Thank you very much, everyone. That concludes today's event.
Thanks very much.